Hello everyone, welcome back to this, I think, last presentation before lunch. And this session will be in English, because today we have with us Loudspring and one of its founders, Lassi Noponen. Please, Lassi, go ahead.
Thank you. Thank you for the opportunity to be here. My name is Lassi Noponen. I'm one of the founders of Loudspring. Loudspring is an investment company focused on saving natural resources. Our goal is to have in the portfolio a group of holdings that are dividend-paying core holdings, and then we have a group of another group of more opportunistic holdings that we look to take exit in a way like a venture capitalist looks at things. We have been active in this market for over 10 years. For myself personally, it's a second investment company. I started in the clean tech, environmental technology already 2000. I had my first company, and Loudspring is my second company that we started with our co-founders 2010. We are listed both in Helsinki and Stockholm First North. Here is a graph of our share price development, and one of the reasons why we want to come to events like this is to present this as what we think is a very attractive investment opportunity, because our share is trading at relatively low, extremely low valuation levels still, despite of the good development we have had in the portfolio companies. Our market cap is about approximately 10 million euros, and it has been in that range now for quite a while. And this is despite the fact that we have had relatively good development in our core portfolio. Here is the charts showing the revenue development of our core portfolio. And as you can see, the growth has been constant. And this chart here shows the low target that we have given for this year. We have given to the market indication of what are our revenue targets for this year, and here we have the low target, and the line up there is the high target. Now, these were of course given before the pandemic, and I will a little bit later talk quite a lot about the interesting impact of the pandemic that has been some negative things, but we have also a lot of positives because of this situation. So we are going to we are going to review these targets after we give our half-year report, which is in August. Before that, this is the forecast we have given to the market. If you look at, say, a different way of looking at our growth is to look at the compounded annual growth rate. And for our four core portfolio companies, I will touch upon each of those a little bit in a while. It has been pretty robust, ranging from 30 to even 90%. So I suppose the message from this is that our core portfolio companies are scale-up companies that are growing well on the international markets. And I've mentioned a few times the word core portfolio as we describe our core holdings. And there we have 4+1 companies. And our ownership ranges from 80% in Eagle Filters to almost 50 in Nuka Solutions, and then 20+ in Sophie Filtration and Rescue. And then we have a fifth core portfolio company, which is Innersize. And there it's approximately 20%. And Innersize is special in the sense that it is listed here in the Stockholm First North. So they report their situations themselves, and we don't give more information about that company than what they give to the market. And then if we touch upon our four core portfolio companies, the most significant one, ownership-wise, is Eagle Filters, and their product is making high-performance air filters for gas turbines and engines. Gas turbines are huge installations producing energy around the world, and Eagle Filters air intake filter can significantly increase the efficiency of the turbines, and this way it reduces the fuel consumption and also the CO2 emissions. So this company has a huge impact on environment, positive impact, and we have calculated that it has a potential for 10 billion euro annual cost savings in the international gas turbine industry. But what is really interesting about this company is how this pandemic has changed its situation, because it has a very solid, long expertise in filter materials. So Eagle Filters has started manufacturing respirators for the healthcare industry, and I have some separate slides about that after we go further. So what happened when this pandemic started, the authorities in Finland contacted Eagle Filters to see if Eagle could build up production capacity to produce respirators for the healthcare workers and the wider public. And after a little bit of deliberations, the company decided to go ahead with this, and here we have the images of our coming products. And what is interesting about this is that this picture shows that these are one gas turbine filter can consist about even 760 of these kind of filter elements. And it is a huge size of a sea container, the filter unit, and then the respirator weighs 20 grams. But basically all filtration deals with the same thing. You want to catch the particles to the desired level, and you want to do that in a way that reduces the gas flow through the filter as little as possible. And in gas turbine, it protects the performance of the turbine, and in respirator, it makes it easier to breathe for the person wearing the respirator. So you could say that they utilize the same technology, which is largely know-how about the materials and how to use them in this case. So what Eagle Filter has done now for the last soon 2 months, we have built and we're ramping up a production line with a capacity of 900,000 respirators per month, and this is 30,000 per day. And these production equipment are being installed or are on the way to the site. We have a possibility to increase capacity 2- or 3-fold, and we are considering that very seriously because of the demand. We have tested the prototypes, and here I have to be very careful what I say. I will say just that we have gotten extremely good results. We are extremely happy with the performance of the prototypes, and will announce in due time our performance specifications. We are submitting these prototypes now to the testing laboratories for official testing. But we are aiming to have the best product in the market, and for respirators that means easy breathing and comfort of wearing. And I think, we all hope that this pandemic is going to go away sooner rather than later, but this is our information that we're basing this business opportunity on, is that this is a long-term opportunity because the supply chains are going to be changed for good. The European and Western societies are not going to be relying on supplies from China in the future, and there is a long-term demand for high-quality European-made respirators where the quality can be controlled and is constantly high. So, and unfortunately, it looks like it's going to be so that the healthcare people will have to be geared up because of this virus circulating in the society in a much more serious way than maybe in the past. So we expect the demand for these products to be a long-term business opportunity. And that's what we have been told by our big potential customers we are talking to at the moment. The mass production is starting mid-June, and we have recruitments. We are recruiting some tens of people to the factory as we speak, and we have a lot of customer interest, large long-term customer interest from Finland, Sweden, the UK, and then also from other places, but we are not really being able to respond to other than Finland, Sweden, and the UK at the moment. So Eagle Filters, this slide is a little bit, that part on the left-hand side shows that last year it grew 33%. These numbers only include the gas turbine business, and this is the forecast we have given for the year. And I would not really pay too much attention to this because this respirator business is going to have a big impact on this. And like I said, we're going to announce our new targets after the half year, in connection with the half year report. Nuka, arguably our second biggest ownership in terms of ownership percent, 47.7. That Nuka makes a data platform for real estate portfolio owners. The product is such that all the sensors you have in a modern building can be connected to the Nuka platform, and then the real estate owners and the users can see how the energy consumption is and how is the indoor air quality, and even what is the occupancy of a meeting room. Anything and everything in a building can be connected to Nuka and then managed from that. And what is the newest thing in Nuka is that Nuka is launching the artificial intelligence app application, which allows users to have the algorithms directly steer heating and the parameters that they choose to have this software run. And that is really a big game changer in a way in the way real estate will be managed. More and more these artificial intelligence applications will be taking care of those kind of things. Nuka is heavily also based in Sweden. Actually, the biggest customer is in Sweden, Eco Real Estate. And Nuka also has other big real estate customers in Sweden, and the flagship customer in Finland is the city of Helsinki. Together, Nuka has over 3,000 buildings at the moment in its system, and outside Finland, Sweden, they are in the Netherlands and the United States. One more thing I want to say about Nuka is that this company has continued to grow during the pandemic, which shows that these kind of digital things are very resilient to crises like this. And in crises, it tends to be that the trends get accelerated, and this digitalization of everything, including real estate, is very likely to continue. So we expect very good future for Nuka. Here are the figures. If you are interested in the firm, you've seen these before because, like I said, we haven't updated. But last year, Nuka's SaaS revenue, which is the significant one, grew over almost 100%. And there on the right side, we have the targets that we have given for this year to be updated then in August. Sophie Filtration is an industrial process water filtration technology that has customers in North and South America and Europe. And this company, I have to say, has been maybe most impacted by the pandemic because of the lack of possibility to meet customers and continue installments. But they have been focusing a little bit on other things, and as the situation clarifies, they also continue to be very, very lucrative business opportunity. Sophie Filtration's revenue last year grew by 70%, and the revenue targets are given here on the right-hand side as for the other companies. Rescue Club, another one of our digital ventures, is a mobile app for saving or rescuing restaurant food, as we say. The way it works is that after the lunch hour, when restaurants see how much they're going to have raw materials that they cannot use this day, they can post online that we have these many portions of this and that, and they mark down the price, and then the consumers can buy it with an app and pick it up. And this company has been growing very nicely. The GMV, which is the measure you use for these things, which is a gross merchandise value. It's a value of the products sold over the platform, grew 95% last year. And what is really interesting about this is that during the pandemic in Finland, most of the restaurants were closed. But you could say that the revenue of the restaurant sector went down a lot. But the revenue went down for rescue, but significantly less, because restaurants were allowed to do takeout, and rescue only does takeout. So the revenue targets and GMV targets are given on the right-hand side, and we expect to update those in August. But this also is coming out from the pandemic strong. Innersize is the 5th company we list as core holding. I'm not going to say much about this. This is listed in Stockholm separately. Those of you who follow know that they have announced a rights issue, which is happening in a couple of weeks, and you can learn more about that from their website. We have a few other companies. In the interest of time, I'm not going to spend time on those, but our value drivers are the ones that I went through in a little bit more detail. But you can find information about these from our website. Then, summing up, Loudspring, I genuinely think it's a very attractive investment opportunity. This clean tech and saving natural resources has been increasingly growing as a viable business, and in many cases it's the most cost-efficient way to do things these days. So it's not an additional cost to invest in clean tech. And we now have a core portfolio that continues to grow with a very limited additional capital requirements. So they have become scale-ups. And we believe that this continuous revenue growth can provide really good value for investors. We also have possibilities to do attractive deals for Loudspring and Loudspring shareholders in secondary sales, where maybe some of the early investors in the portfolio companies want to exit, and we have done during our history of 10 years. We have many times been able to buy at a very good price, increasing our ownership in for example, Rescue and Nuka and Eagle Filters. We also have a plan that, according to the plan, we can be cash flow positive next year if we do no new investment into new company, and this plan holds. Finally, COVID impact. I touched upon this quite a lot, but for Eagle Filters, the COVID situation has created a business opportunity that in the short term is larger than its existing business. And like I said, we are now ramping up capacity of 900,000 respirators with a possibility and a plan to upgrade 2 or 3-fold that. To help the world in the shortage of this personal protective equipment. And we are aiming for the highest quality segment, which is a more long-term opportunity than possibly the not so high quality. Rescue's revenue has reduced somewhat, but it is gearing for international growth as restaurants have opened up in Finland now a week ago. Nuka, interestingly, revenue has continued to grow, and also the feedback from the team is that customers are more serious and interested to digitalize. And this goes to the point that when you have crises, they tend to accelerate those trends that are present in the society even without the crisis. And digitalization, everybody agrees, is one of those trends that's going to take a boost from this crisis. Everybody's learned to use Zoom meetings, and digitalization of real estate is another one of those outcomes. Sophie Filtration, as I said, has seen a slowdown in sales and installation activity as the CapEx expenditure globally and the customer side has reduced. Loudspring is about making an environmental impact, and this is how we illustrate that. We want to have companies that grow and have scalable technology and are profitable, and this is the way we can maximize also the positive environmental impact. Loudspring, if you think back what we're doing, we are solving some of our planet's biggest challenges. We are increasing energy efficiency in manufacturing and real estate. We are increasing well-being of people with smart buildings. And now with the respirators we are providing to healthcare people around the world. We are saving water and preventing microplastics from getting into the oceans. And we are transitioning and move to circular economy with our food waste and pre-loved clothing business in the United States, swap.com, that I didn't have the time to cover here. We're also eliminating waste in food and beverage sector. Other way of looking at this rescues business. We measure our impact due to the pandemic. We haven't been able to publicize last year's report, but the year before we saved CO2 emissions which equal to over 1 million flights between Helsinki and Stockholm. And another way of looking at it is about taking out 100,000 cars from the streets in Sweden. And this was my last slide, and I'm being told that my time is also out, so...
Yeah, well, thank you very much. I thought we should cover just a couple of questions also.
Okay, absolutely.
But we got one from the audience here. Could you elaborate a bit on the further capital need you're seeing to support your portfolio companies? And also, has the filter respirator business changed this capital need from your side?
Yeah, well, we have given the plan for the capital needs, which you're aware of. It was in the beginning of the year or before the year, and that is unchanged. We have said that we're going to raise some few millions of capital. We have raised about half of that, and this was until the end of the year. So that plan is unchanged. When it comes to this capital needs for this Eagle Filters respirator business, of course there is capital needs, but Eagle has financed those separately, and we have also been supported by the society and hope to be supported in different ways for product development. And so it hasn't impacted Loudspring's overall funding plan, but Eagle has funded it separately so far.
Okay, great. So could you just elaborate, give us some more detail or granularity on the filters business in terms of profit potential, unit price, or something like that?
Yeah. Well, there are two kinds of these respirators. You have two standards. There's third, but for the healthcare, it's this FFP2 and FFP3. And those differ from how many percent. Other one is 99, if I remember right, captures 99% of the particles, and the other one 97, if I'm right. And there seems to be like a even greater demand for this high-end FFP3 product, and that is something we're going to produce both, but I think that's where we are going to be extremely competitive. And the prices, it's been quite a crazy market. We have seen all kinds of prices that and inquiries, and I went to the pharmacy to look at the prices, and they sell these FFP2 respirators for €8 a piece and the retail, which is outrageous. So we are going to announce the forecast for the revenue, in the due time. So I don't know how much I can say about this, but I can say that the feedback we get from the market is that the governmental qualified buyers are interested to pay a premium for a European product than a lowest cost product from Asia. And that's what they say is going to be a long-term strategy. So I think it's probably cheaper to manufacture these things in Asia, somewhat, but we don't think that that makes the difference because the appetite for quality supersedes that.
I see. Okay, perfect. Thank you very much, Lassi. We have to cut now because time flies. And thank you so much for watching.
Thank you.
Thank you.